Not sure if the Ouzel Falls hike is the one for you in Rocky Mountain National Park? We're gonna go over everything you need to know and the information on how to hike it. Hey there, I'm Alex from Alex on the Map, and I have been to over 30 national parks, including Rocky Mountain National Park, several times. Honestly, there are so many amazing hikes in Rocky Mountain, and choosing which one is right for you can be a challenge. But if you are looking for a quieter hike that is not too difficult with some amazing payoff, then Ouzel Falls might be the one for you. Not to mention, this isn't as busy of an area in Rocky Mountain, so if you want a little bit more time with nature and less time with crowds, this might be the right option. We're gonna go over everything you need to know on how to hike it, plus some personal tips from me and some common FAQs I get from clients who I plan itineraries for. Quick tip before we get started: even though it is not as popular as many of the hikes in Rocky Mountain, it still fills up really quickly. You're gonna wanna get to the parking lot as early as you possibly can in order to get a spot for this trail. All right, here are some quick stats to get you started. This hike has a distance of 5.3 miles, and I would rate it as a moderate hike. It has an elevation gain of about 984 feet, and I would estimate about 2 hours on the trail, maybe a little longer if you're planning on stopping and having your lunch and just enjoying being in this beautiful area. All right, let's get into how to hike this hike. The trail begins at the Wild Basin Trailhead, which is an area that is kind of separate from the main areas of Rocky Mountain National Park. It is not located on the Bear Lake Road corridor, if you have any questions about that. Wild Basin tends to be a little quieter, a little bit more remote, but very pretty as well. Keep in mind that Rocky Mountain National Park has had a reservation system over the past few years, and you will need a reservation to enter in this area. There might not necessarily be a park attendant at the kiosk when you check in, so you're going to want to print out your reservation and stick it on the dash of your car, so park people know that you're there and you have your reservation as needed. Once you found a parking spot in this very potholy parking lot, you're gonna head along the St. Vrain Creek. You're pretty much going to follow water throughout the entirety of this hike, which makes it a really special, nice, peaceful hike in general. About 0.3 miles in, you're going to reach Lower Copland Falls. Right behind it is Upper Copland Falls. These are just kind of a preview of what is to come. You're going to keep going through a beautiful forest of lodge pine and aspens, and while we hiked this in May, which was really early, there was a lot of snow on the ground, it should be pretty easy to follow. At 1.6 miles, you're going to reach Calypso Cascades, which is another beautiful little waterfall that you might want to stop and take pictures of. There's a wooden bridge here, which gives you a better viewing platform of these falls, and when we were there in the spring, the falls were just roaring with a ton of water that was melting and coming off from the higher mountains. The hardest part of the hike is the final stretch to Ouzel Falls themselves. You're going to gain about 250 feet of elevation, about 0.7 miles, so that's pretty steep. It should be pretty self-explanatory because there are signs leading to the waterfall. After about 2.7 miles of hiking overall, you'll reach Ouzel Falls themselves. This is a 40-foot waterfall, so it's quite tall, and the water just comes cascading down. There's usually a ton of it, especially if you are planning on visiting in the early summer. To be honest, I wouldn't really plan on hiking this when we did, which was in May. I would wait till probably late June or early July in order to get the full effect. And if you are planning on hiking in the snow, micro spikes are a must. After you've had time viewing the falls, having your lunch there, enjoying, you're going to just head back the way you came. Are you struggling on planning your national park trip? Let's face it, between accommodations, figuring out the reservation system, and a lot more, it's just overwhelming planning your national park trip sometimes. This can cost you a lot of time and money just figuring out your itinerary. If you're looking for some help planning your trip, I offer a custom national park itinerary service that walks you through day by day what you need to know before you go. This itinerary will save you a lot of time and money and allows you to get to the park and actually enjoy your trip instead of worrying about all the details. I plan hundreds of national park trips for clients, which has helped them enjoy their whole experience a lot more. So what does one of these custom itineraries include? You can expect reservation information if needed, suggestions on where to stay, what to eat, and what to do, and tips and recommendations for your specific park. You'll love the itinerary I planned for you, or you get your money back. Here are some testimonials from some of my clients. Alex was very responsive to my request for assistance in planning our upcoming trip to Glacier National Park. We were unfamiliar with the park, and it was helpful to get specific recommendations of where to stay, eat, and what to do while we're out there to make the most of our vacation from Barbara. Alex was more than prompt in responding to my request for an itinerary. Her selections fit perfectly with the criteria I requested. She's been great about following up and making sure that our needs are met. From Samantha. If you're interested in this, I offer a 15-minute consultation call for free where you can tell me about your concerns for your national park trip, and I can give you more information on how I can help you. You can find that out in the description below and book your call there. Alright, here are some tips I have for hiking to Ouzel Falls. Remember that you are going to need a reservation in order to do so. Even though this is located off the main drag, you will still need a reservation from May through October. Another tip I have is drive through that parking lot very slowly. There are a ton of potholes and it is not super well maintained by the park service, so you could really damage your car if you're not careful. Four-wheel drive, usually in Colorado and in Rocky Mountain, no matter what time of year, is a must. Another tip I have is make sure to take breaks along the way. While Ouzel Falls themselves are spectacular, one of my favorite things to do actually was stop at each falls and kind of sit and just relax and enjoy being in nature. While you can rush to the end, it's all about the journey on this hike. Another thing too I would recommend is to be on the lookout for wildlife. You're likely to see a ton of chipmunks on this trail, and they are super curious. If you're not careful, they will sneak right into your pack and steal whatever food you have. So just make sure to keep an eye on your things and away from animals if you can. Alright, here are some common FAQs I get about hiking to Ouzel Falls. Do I need a reservation to hike to Ouzel Falls? The answer is yes. From May to October, a reservation will be needed in order to take on this trail. Again, I recommend printing it out and putting it on the dash of your car just so park rangers can be aware that you have your reservation. How do I get to the Ouzel Falls trailhead? From Estes Park, you're going to drive about 16 miles. You're going to get on Colorado 7 East, and there will be a sign that points to Country Road 84 West, which you're going to turn on. You're going to continue for a short while and it will take you right to the trailhead. And of course, to make things really easy, just go ahead and put Ouzel Falls into Google Maps and it should take you right there. Is the Ouzel Falls hike good for kids? I would definitely say this is a good hike for kids, especially if they have some experience hiking. We saw a ton of them on the trail, and because it's not super strenuous and there's lots to see along the way, they shouldn't be bored or tired. If you have super young kids, the elevation at the ends might be a little tough, but there are so many beautiful falls along the way, you can stop and view those instead. How high is Ouzel Falls? Ouzel Falls is quite tall at 40 feet. Is Ouzel Falls located in the Bear Lake Road corridor? No, Ouzel Falls is located in the Wild Basin area of the park, which is a lot quieter and, in my opinion, in some ways more enjoyable. I hope this has helped you plan your hike for Ouzel Falls in Rocky Mountain National Park. As always, if you have any questions about this hike or others in Rocky Mountain, feel free to let me know in the comments. You're also going to want to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to get more videos on national parks.